guys? This is Slip Encounter Podcast. We're here at the Kenichi Studios. My name is BINK, and this is my partner, Junior, the Golden Boy. How you feeling, man?
Feel good, man. You know it's always good when I'm in here with my guys, man.
For sure, it's always good to come in here and talk boxing and do our thing. You know what I'm saying? So tonight, we got a good fight. We got a comeback fight for the Puerto Rican brawler out of Philly, Danny Garcia, fighting Jose Benavidez. Very powerful family in the sport of boxing. You know, his younger brother David made a lot of noise in the sport of boxing. How do you feel Jose fares out against Danny Garcia at 154?
How does Jose fare out against Danny?
Mm-hmm.
He should do fine early, but experience-wise, Danny should still stretch it out late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he stops Jose late.
Mm-hmm.
But if it do go to decision, by the time you get to the 7th round, Danny should be able to start to stretch it out a little bit class-wise.
Right.
And should be fine.
Yeah,
but I think Jose, he always comes to fight. He should make a good account of it. So
right, he gonna come to fight, and I think that's gonna play in Danny's favor. He gonna be right there for Danny to get off on him.
Yeah. You know, especially with the leg,
Mm-hmm.
having his issues, hearing it with pivoting out, things like that with his leg. But people forget, you know, oh, somebody got to be in front of Danny. People forget Danny was 2 points away from making the Olympic team. He only lost by 2 points.
Right.
He was one of the top amateurs when he went to the trials. So and back then it was the point system. It wasn't like it is now back to the Roy Jones days where it's like 10-9, 10-9, 10-9. Now, back then it was the 5 judges all had to hit. They had like a blue and they left, a red and they right. And you had to hit it within like, I think 0.8 of a second or something like that to count the point or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they wasn't counting body shots like that. They wasn't counting jabs like that. So, and we'll go back to one of my favorite phrases. He had one of the most, and he still does, one of the best C patterns he doesn't waste his movement. And that's one of the problems that I have. Like sometimes I waste movement that sometimes could be unnecessary.
Right.
You know, but sometimes he may do something that he may look at somebody and be like, you know, oh, I wish I should slide off a little better.
Right.
Which is something you've seen me do pretty well, but he don't waste nothing. Which is my issue with something like, man, I wish I could do that a little better.
Right.
And that's one of his things that will always show, and I think will show with him being now fighting Jose Benavidez, be the perfect opponent for him to work that C pattern and stretch it out from rounds 7 to 12. Maybe stop him. And if he does stop him late between like 8 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, UD at the end of the 12.
I got you. Let me rephrase. Not that Danny needs somebody to be in front of him. I think it plays in his favor to have somebody there that he ain't got to walk down and chase around the ring. If you're going to stand in front of Danny, you have your hands full for however long the fight lasts. I think I got Danny probably stopping him between like 8 and 10.
True.
Fair assessment?
True.
Right. So when we look at Danny's last fight against Errol, what are some things you took away from that fight that he did well that'll help him in this fight? Some things that you think may hinder him against Jose Benavidez after fighting Errol Spence?
When it comes to what he did good, I mean, he was Danny. He showed up. He just was in there with a guy who had his number.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate that bullshit, bro. I can't stand it, dog.
Shit,
like,
bro.
people, they always want to look at a guy losing, and he got a mouse, or he got covered. Oh, he lost. He got beat bad. He got beat real bad, or whatever. He looked bad. I remember I forget this lady name. It's not Miss Boxing Baby, Miss McClendon. Shout out Miss McClendon, but it wasn't her. It was somebody else. Forget how she hasn't been on Instagram in a minute. But she was like, when Earl fought Mikey Garcia embarrassed, I said, no, that wasn't an embarrassment. He outclassed him, but he ain't embarrassed him. And she was like, you know how everybody got to be right these days. You know, made it a big thing that I said that, and then like a month later, Clarissa had fought Lady Hammer, and we remember what she did to her.
Right.
I said, now you see what embarrassment looks like. That's making somebody look bad.
Right.
Like a bad performance. Danny just was in there with a guy who's just, if you really want to call it, like, take Danny Garcia's skill sets. Him and Earl kind of fight similar, but
Yeah.
Earl just
Does it better.
there you go, rolling off to the next side and stuff like that better. And he just outclassed him. That's all, and that's
Right.
it. And he earned, but Danny Ben had earned his spot. It's crazy how in this fecal game hours how quickly people forget this was a dude who fought anybody that they threw him in there with.
For sure.
And when everybody was ducking,
Danny
Lucas
was fighting.
Matisse ducking him. Only two people I could say right now with my own heart that I knew for a fact was not waiting to see Lucas Matisse get old or see if he break down a little bit, because we saw how he broke down later in his career. Too many wars. Lamont Peterson, Mr. Lamont, and Danny Garcia were the only two dudes who did not mind fighting Lucas Matisse when he was the machine, La Mechina, like he was the machine. And he broke him down. He got through the storm in the early rounds and wound up doing what he did. How quickly people forget. So, but when it comes to what can hinder him, still weight classes for a reason, bro.
Right.
Still weight classes for a reason, bro. 54, bro. It's 54 pounds.
It's 54, but I don't think Jose's really that much bigger than Danny for real. You know what I'm saying?
Further along.
Oh yeah, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. Trust me, we gonna get to that part of the show. But we got to start it off right. So, and to your point, Danny, I'm looking at his box record right now. Losses to Errol Spence, world class. Sean Porter, world class. Keith Thurman, world class. And those were close fights. He didn't get blown out really.
He did not get blown out. The only one he really got outclassed was Earl.
Right. But the other two, Sean and Thurman, those are pretty close fights that could have swung in his favor with a couple rounds.
2 rounds. 2-3 rounds.
Yeah, so Danny, he's definitely been in some wars. He's definitely been in some great fights. And I feel like every time Danny get in the ring, man, he always bringing it. I'm looking at the fight. Brandon Rios, entertaining fight. Adrian Granados, entertaining fight. I love watching Danny fight. He brings that Philly mentality. He brings that Danny Montana. You see him on his Instagram doing the Danny Montana. Man, shout out Danny Garcia, man. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'm always been a big fan of Danny. Happy for him. And how he's done well for himself outside the square. If you don't know and you're a young fighter, go look at some of the things that Paul Williams and Danny Garcia, those two separate guys, did when they started making their money in this thing of ours. Go look it up. I'm telling you, Danny could have been retired.
Right.
Been retired.
Right. Talk to him.
With the weight thing though, to what you was asking, Jose's a Danny may arguably in a natural 47 as well, just shrunk and boiled down to 40.
Right.
Jose Benavidez, natural 47. But they're still qualified as smaller guys. We are little guys. No matter what, anything below 54, if you're not Jared Hurd size, you are considered a little guy.
Yeah.
And these are still little guys going up to the 10 ounces. Little guys going up to the 10 ounces.
Right.
So, but in the future?
Yeah. So it's safe to say that Danny's not a true, in your opinion, you don't think he's a true 154. When we look at this list, I got the top 5 written down right here. I got the top 5 54-pounders written down right here. Let's get into it. So we got the champ. We got Jermell Charlo. We got Brian Castano. We got Tim Tszyu. We got Tony Harrison, Erickson Lubin, the top 5.
Some big dudes. Only one Danny, I don't know. How tall is Danny? God, I'm forgetting.
Got it right here. Danny is 5'8".
And I wonder how big is and how tall is Jermell? Jermell like 5'10", right?
Look it up.
I want to say I think Jermell's like 5'10".
Look it up.
While BINK does that, let's just get to the basis of where I want to say and where I want to go with this. You coming up from 40 pounds, it's certain guys from this area, it's certain guys from different eras that you know with that person's height and stuff, he can't go up past a certain weight because now he's not only going to get punched, he's going to get punched down on. So you gotta wonder, okay, Danny, remember him as a 40-pounder, then going to 47. And you think about guys like, okay, let's be real. You just mentioned the top 5, correct? How tall is Charlo?
5'11". 5'11".
Now,
73-inch reach.
And so now you got to look at it like this. Those guys that are bigger and taller, Danny's going to now get kind of punched on a little bit manhandled. But scratch your top 5 for a second. Those top 5 contenders, correct? Those are the top 5 guys. We already know Danny's not gonna fight those top guys yet. It's gonna be a tune. Like tonight is like considered a tune-up.
Right.
We know Jose Benavidez can rumble, but it's considered Danny's supposed to outclass a tune-up. Let's say the next fight, Al Heyman call him and offer him to fight Tony Harrison, offers him to fight Jared Hurd, or Erickson. Those guys are
big. Those
huge.
Big guys.
Side story. He laughing because he know this story. I just got out the hospital, and Swift, Jared, I had the honor of being a part of a lot of training, grew up together, everything, and Uncle Nesto go, all right, y'all done shadow box. We did like 6 rounds shadow boxing, like 8 rounds. He said, all right, y'all go ahead, go glove up. So I'm still standing there. I'm not doing nothing. He go, Sabrino, go ahead, go ahead. You moving with that? You moving around with Jared? I said, moving. We helping him move out his house. He said, boy, go get your. You serious? You really want to move around? Man, stop acting like you can't fight, man. Go get dressed. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Hey, I'm the couple get dressed. And I started moving Jared. They wanted Jared to have somebody with fast hands and have him move and walk forward, cutting off the ring, things like that. So I'm feinting them, shoot the jab, picking, whatever. T.O. say, time. Tiempo. Hey, my nephew can fight. He ain't been in this gym since he was a little boy. He ain't been in there with good guys. He know how to handle himself. You can throw something back at him. You can throw something, but you ain't got to hurt him. But you can throw something back at him. And I just look at him like, why you blowing up my spot for? Like, what you blowing up my spot for? I'm fine. He sitting there, he was mad. Jared threw one shot. We sitting there working. Working with him. Man, but threw an off-timing jab. Waited for me to step out off because I basically took a quarter step line to see what's going on because I knew he was going to pull in. So I went kind of like this and slid and relax. Soon as I went relax, did what a pro do, like Marco Antonio brought him. Then he threw a jab, went right in between the guard. I was like, time. This is what you been hitting them dudes with? Hold on, time out. Come here, bring it in, man. We black folks. We don't need to be doing this to each other. Come here, give me a hug, bro. Give me a hug. You don't need to be doing this, man. I'm sorry. He started laughing. 30 seconds go. 30 seconds, I went around that ring. I said, this how this 30 seconds gonna go. And I just went around. But just him because I promise you, disclaimer, he was never trying to hurt me. Jared never once, ever, when I was ever with his size advantage, never once ever tried to hurt me. Ever. He was always a consummate professional, a champion, a gentleman when I worked in the ring with him. And always made me feel so appreciated my work and everything. And he's taking at least 30 or 40% off the pop. And I mean, I'm catching it. And it's like, oh, and he got on 18s. 18s.
Yeah.
God almighty. Like, Jesus Christ. So now you got to think with Danny Garcia, who's bigger than me, naturally bigger than me. I was at 32, 38 in the amateurs. Like this he's naturally bigger and stronger than me. You getting there with somebody like Erickson losing or Jared Hurd. That size advantage. You started at 40. You started at 40. You might have been a natural 47 boiling down.
Right.
But you started at 40. Can you imagine them guys dropping that stuff on him and breaking him down?
Right. But have we ever seen Danny broke down?
The Earl fight?
I think he was more mentally broke down in a shock of not knowing where to go with Errol, what to do. Everything he threw at Errol, he was getting touched back. I'm talking about like physically broken down, where it's like he's about to get You know, like knocked out.
Yes.
Who?
Okay, let me preface my comments. He was trying to quit. 'Cause you
Mhm.
know how people watch this stuff be. That man was not ever close to quitting. Ever.
Right. That's right.
Danny has always been till the end guy. And unfortunately, even with his family now and the things he's accomplished, I still think if it went to that point, unfortunately, he would still be a till the end guy.
Right.
And you know, God bless him. But you know, with the Earl thing, I think it was a accumulation of both of, dang, everything I do, he's 2 steps ahead.
Right.
But also late with somehow some of the shots them shots were lingering.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just shaking off late in the fight. Now
Mhm.
it's lingering. You're trying to just get it together and
Right.
stay on. And his mental fortitude pushed him through.
Right.
I think. But his body was like ready to call this off.
Man, when I think about Danny, I think about a guy that's just tough as all kind of forged steel. That dude, man, like I've never really seen him like shook like we seen certain guys recently. When I think about Danny, I think about a guy that has a wild chin, sturdy, and he come in to fight. 154 with the these top 5 guys we got here.
In shape and recovers quick.
Right, in shape and recovers quick. I think he's a guy that I think he gives these guys good fights. I'm not saying he goes in here and beats these guys, but I definitely think Danny, with his style and his pedigree and what he brings to the ring, I think he gives you guys good fights.
No, but Danny's talking about trying to be a 3-weight world champion.
He got to go through Jamel.
Dog, that is a dangerous that's dangerous, man.
So
Danny's bigger and stronger than I might be.
Let me look at Brian Castaño's stuff.
Man, he's bigger and dude, is a guy who done. My father always had me sparring guys bigger than me all the time. So when I got in there with guys my size, the ring was bigger. Everything was so. Man, it's not so much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It feels better.
Right.
But every time I ever worked with a guy bigger than me,
right,
I knew he was a bigger guy. And some of the biggest guys I ever worked with was 175, like good 75-pounders.
Right.
I'll tell you on a different one. I'm working with a dude in the gym. I don't even know where this guy is anymore. He was helping. He came to spar me. He was like fighting at 65, I think. And I sparred him. And one of the guys that was in the gym was like, man, no, you should go ahead and let Junior lift more weights. Because my father only had me doing regular body stuff, pull-ups, push-ups, dips, things like that. And he said, you should let Junior lift more weights and go up to like 52, and the amateurs is 52.
Yeah.
He's like, go to 52, he'll be another Roy or something like that. And my father looked at him like, no. He said, skill for skill, I believe my son could box with anybody. But them guys too big. And you remember I told you this story, because remember at that time, who the hell was at 54? I mean, at 52 waiting. No, I'm sorry. 41. Because I was at 32, 38. It was guys at 41. Guess who was at 41 waiting? Gary Allen Russell in the gym with me. Mike Yes Indeed Reed.
Right.
Killers.
I got
guys that skill for skill, I could hold my own. Of course, they got way more experience. But man, like these guys they said my son gotta eat to get to that weight. These dudes gotta lose to get to that weight. And Danny may gotta lose to get to 54, but these dudes gotta lose way more.
Right.
To get to 54. It's just too big, bro. It's hard to explain. I can only give y'all some of my experiences or whatever, and experiences of seeing different guys. But man, it's a different order when you move up to them 10-ounce gloves, man, from 8s to 10s and them big boys. Why you think most of the time Floyd, besides Canelo, and he put Canelo in the trick bag, but most of the time when these guys fight, it's always a guy. It's never really a true 54 pounds. It's always a guy who is like them, like started at 40, 47, or 35, whatever, and worked his way up.
That's what this fight is.
Like that's 9 times out of 10 when them guys win belts at 54. That's kind of how it be the guys that's like them. They can't never fight a guy that's naturally that big, like that big. This is that just he has to be had no pop at all or something.
Right.
It's a very dangerous dangerous situation you play with when you do those type of fights.
I hear you. So let me throw this at you real quick. So Brian Castano, right? The first fight with Charlo. Beautiful. Second fight, we saw how the second fight ended.
Beautiful.
Brian Castano was 1 inch shorter than Danny. And Danny has a 3/4 inch reach advantage over Brian Castano. How do you think? Do you still think Danny wouldn't be able to fare with Jamel?
I'm not saying he wouldn't fare, but what I'm saying is that that's only the smallest guy. Jamel's probably the only smallest. I'm not sure how tall. I know Tony Harrison's pretty tall.
We can look that up too.
I'm not sure how tall Erickson Lubin is. You could probably scroll down to Erickson Lubin and click him and see. But Erickson Lubin,
Tony Harrison, 6'1".
Yeah, how tall Erickson Lubin? He's somewhere on there, a little bit further down. Erickson Lubin got to be another inch shorter, maybe 6 feet, maybe 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
That's still. So the shortest guy or the smallest guy is Tramel, just about.
Look it up real quick. I'm trying to find Erickson Lubin on here.
Erickson Lubin's probably about 2 or 3 more years further down. And you'll see him from when they first fought. If not, it'll be. I know who else they have, because different links on Box Race, so many different guys that they similar for you click them.
Right.
But it's Danny. I believe Danny, skill for skill, could box with Jamel all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I really honestly believe that. But can he hurt Jamel? Can he hit Jamel, make Jamel think about something? After what he's just gone through, after all of these, you banking on Charlo basically being too many wars or tired or whatever. That's what you basically banking on. Because now you banking on, man, he not hitting me with something that's gonna make me seriously respect him.
Right.
You know,
I mean, that's definitely good. I mean, didn't Castano kind of buzz Jamel in the first fight?
Did he?
I'm trying to think back and be accurate. I'm pretty sure he had Jamel up against the ropes looking crazy for a little bit.
But I love how he recovered.
Okay, so Erickson's 5'9.5", so he's an inch and a half taller than Danny.
Who?
Erickson Lubin. He's an inch and a half taller than Danny. With a 74.5, he has a way longer reach. Danny's at 68 3/4, and Erickson Lubin's reach is 74.5.
Why are we still on this topic?
Got to. They fighting tonight. They fighting tonight on Showtime. 9 p.m. Showtime. All right, make sure y'all guys tune in, watch the fight, and come back and revisit this video and let us know how we did and how y'all feel about the results of the fight. Because we're going to come back and revisit this one for sure. That's why we talking about it. You feel me?
It's just certain, like, if you would, man, you don't hear me saying this about Danny at 40, 47. You hear me saying this about 54. It's just a different ball game with them bigger boys. It's just a different ball game.
I got you. Let me throw this at you then. So after this fight, after tonight, right, we don't know who's going to win, right? What happens for each of these guys? Do you think Danny stays at 54 if he wins? And then do you think Jose goes back down? Or how does it play out, in your opinion?
I honestly don't know. Honestly, it's too early to call it. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. I think Danny probably going to still try to go full.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. It could go a multitude of ways. I always try to look at things on both sides. Both of them may go back down to 47. Maybe it'd be more opportunity at 47.
Right.
You know, maybe something else. You know, but who knows? Maybe everything that we discussing, when it gets to Angel may say, man, Jared Hurdle, Erickson Lubin, all that. No, those guys too big. Then we don't need that. Go back down to 47. Or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And that happens.
Right.
Or, you know, Jose may be like, all right, you know, I got a little bit more height. Maybe I'll stay a little long. Oh, no, I'm going to go back down to 47. I got the payday. They offered me the fight. I took it at 54. Go back down to 47.
And that's a good point. I think that's exactly what he got offered the payday. He got the contract. Said, Danny Garcia, 54. I'm a fighter.
Yeah, I got
Why
7
not?
pounds, a 7-pound cushion.
Right. Why not go up there and do it? I think Danny's pretty adamant about going to 54 and getting his third world title, third division with a world title. So I got Danny staying at 54 and making a run. I'm going to throw a name at you real quick at 54.
Shoot.
Austin Trout, Danny Garcia. Austin's still fighting too. He's still trying to make his run back for a belt. How's that fight?
I can see that.
That's a good fight at 54, I think.
But it's crazy because Austin was considered the big junior middleweight before Jerry Hurt came along and was super duper huge, and you know, but yeah, I could see that. But I wonder how would they offer that fight to Trout? How would they do that? You know, because he hasn't fought on PBC in a while.
He's been fighting overseas and stuff. I think he just fought in Dubai again or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so I'm wondering how would they offer that to him? Because he's not going, or because it's Danny Garcia or whatever. You got to really grease it for Austin Trout. He's not gonna just take no deal.
He's really smart.
He's not just gonna take that deal at all. And that's another guy that don't get mentioned like that. I've always talked to and is always open and honest, and had some interesting conversations with that guy, man.
Right.
Man, but shout out to Mr. Trout, man.
No, for sure. Well, hey guys, look, Slip Encounter Podcast. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our handles on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, slipencounter_com. And check out the fight tonight, Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. Let us know how you guys feel. Comment on the video. We'll get it with you guys soon.
Are you not into